is now heightened. The 16 aspirants under the All Progressives Congress APC gears up for the state governorship primary election scheduled for this Saturday. APC has assured the 16 aspirants jostling for its ticket to contest for the November the 16th governorship election that it will conduct a free, fair and transparent primary election. Meanwhile, 7 out of 16 governorship aspirants have petitioned the national secretariat of the party, complaining about anomalies observed ahead of Saturday's primary election. The aspirants who have collected forms to participate in the forthcoming primary election faulted the revalidation of the membership register to be used for the primary election. They alleged that a particular aspirant has gone ahead with massive printing of fake party slips, which they claimed he has distributed to a lot of persons who are not even party members. The aspirants who signed the petition were Olusola, Wale, Akinterinwa, Diran, Iyantan, Dayo, Faduyile, Gbenga, Edema, and Jimi, Odimayo. Well, joining us via Zoom is the Director, Contacts and Engagements for Lucky Ayedatiwa Campaign Organization, Foot Soldiers Independent Campaign Council, Olusola. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And also via Zoom, we have a lawyer, political affairs analyst, Dr. Benson Enikumei. Dr. Benson, are you there? All right. As soon as we have Dr. Benson join us, we'll include him in this conversation. But let's begin with you, Olusola, with regards to what we are seeing, the controversies leading up to these primaries, how it is that some aspirants are saying that a particular, some persons are alleging, members of the same party now, are alleging that an aspirant had gone ahead to, with massive printing of fake party slips. In fact, there were reports this morning that 2 persons have been arrested for some activities that could, make or mar these primaries. Talk to us what you are seeing, these developments coming ahead of the primaries.
Yeah, it's the primaries is going to be a keenly contested one. The Governor Ayedatiwa is the people's man, is loved by everybody. A lot of people will at certain points try to, bring up allegations. If they have found some people who are said to have been illegally giving out, party tickets when they shouldn't be, then those people should face the due course of the law. But you cannot, because I read the article myself, and you were trying to accuse the governor of doing it. I think it's just a form of crybabyism. I don't believe that anybody in the power or in the office of the governor is doing anything nefarious. The stuff is that when you know that you are not in a forerunner, when you know you are not leading, you might start making excuses. Even we saw Donald Trump do that a lot before he lost the 2020 election. Because if you have salient issues about the validation, you can always address that at the local government level. I'm pretty sure the party has the register that is central. The governor that just became governor, how many months ago? Just probably celebrated his 100th day or something. There is only so much that he could have done to affect the party structure. I've not even changed anybody. So, there is no way for all these allegations to be valid, in my own opinion. They made a lot of allegations too, because I just read it. I think this was just a latest development. They said that some delegates were absent from the party congress, or they were late. I believe I heard that they are doing direct primaries, unless if anybody has pure information. They can give that to me. But if it is a direct primary, then that means it is all card-carrying members of the party that will come in and vote, that have fulfilled their financial, obligations, which will have a date. Exactly. So if that is the process, then I don't see the relevance of any delegate congress, even if it is being done as a perfunctory, function, because it is direct. It is a direct primary. So there is no there, in my opinion, from what I have been hearing with all my coordinators all across the state. There is no the 18 local government of the state. There is no issue in this thing. If anybody has any legitimate obligations or observations, let them raise it with the appropriate authorities. Let them involve the police, the INEC themselves. So, get your evidence, present it, and then you will have a case, but not to try to attempt to use it to smear people a few days to the election. I know that, running for an election is a very costly endeavor, and only one person will win. But that is not a reason. You don't start a game, even if it is football, with the assurance of winning. So exactly. So they should be a good sport. These are all eminent members of the society. They should act, in accordance with their status and be respectable and do things according to the due process. The party has laid down its mantle, its process. Then let them follow it. You will play the game according to the rules that have been stated. It's direct primary. Go and get out your votes. Go and get all the people that that are card-carrying party members that are going to support you, and then contest the election. And then if you lose, handshake and come together as one party to win in the final election. The most important thing is the welfare of the people of Ondo State, which is what Governor Iyantan intends to keep on making paramount and pushing.
All right. So I know that you support a particular aspirant and you've not hidden that from anybody. But don't you think this is a concern? Don't you think it's a valid concern raised by the aspirant and that it should be looked into by the party itself?
If they have a valid concern, they should take it to the authorities. They should go and prove it. It is not supposed to be a media trial. It's not supposed to be something that you call a press conference on. It's supposed to be something that you go. I mean, even if you want to become the press has to know. But my point is that you should go to the people who have the details, people who can do something about it. If you see someone, creating false fake results, take that person to the police, get the evidence, get that person arrested. I think, like you said, 2 people have been arrested. That is fine. If you see that there is a process that is being altered, take it to the party leaders, to the national chairman. If you have invalid, accusation, that was the same thing that they did about WAEC results until APC said that they easily proved that by just buying 2,500 naira scratch card. So when people start, throwing mud, start, crying. It's called crybabyism. It is what I used to do when I used to play ball with my brother as a 5-year-old. When he's beating me, I'll cry to my mother that Brother Dele has shrunk the post. He beat me in the head. He wounded my leg. Whereas he did not do none of that. I was just losing a game and I was pained. But as I grew up, I became a big boy. I outgrew that.
So you think they are wrong? They are losing at this game. Why do you think so? They've brought a concern, and they've taken it to the national chairman of the party. So why do you think they are losing?
Yes, so they should let the national party. They decided to get into APC and contest this election because they posited an amount of trust on the national leader or on the party structure. So if you have a problem, take it to the people that you have said from the get-go that you trusted, that you trust. We trust you to do this, and whatever their judgment is, you should assume that they don't have an axe to grind. That they will be an even arbiter in the case. But it is not for you to start throwing mud and to start smearing people, start putting people's name in the middle because they are the front runner. The issue of Governor Iyantan being the front runner is simple. The way he rose to the to the power was an ordination. It's providence. When you go on the street of Ondo State right now, the banker is Mofe Lucky. Show lucky, Orimi son Mofe Lucky. That is what everybody is saying.
Interesting.
You are lucky. Everybody is lucky. Yeah, everybody is lucky. So that's the banker on the streets of Ondo State. So people can see it. You can always see it.
Interesting.
You can always see the trend, and that is what the opponents are scared.
You must also understand the concerns of this person who are card-carrying members of the party as well, trying to exercise their rights as it is. But then the concern for some persons is that with divisive utterances coming out and all of these controversies leading up, how will the primary go? Will it be rancor-free or not?
we expect the primary to be ranked off. Those state people are peace-loving people. I was not yet born when the issue of Ajax and Omogoryo war occurred, and my parents, I saw a bet that got burnt because my parents were living in the house of one person, the person that was in charge of Radio Nigeria at the time. We learned from that. We learned from some of the violence in the 90s. Those state people have changed because that is not, in accordance with our DNA. Our DNA is dignity, non-aggression. So we don't fight. However, if anybody is trying to, cause any form of ruckus, we expect and we trust in the people and the members of the security of Ondo State to act. You can only do that and let the authorities act. That's what you can do. The people of Ondo State should be rest assured, should go out. APC members in Ondo State should be rest assured and go out peacefully, line up behind the candidate of their choice and vote. There are so many things that the governor has done that has made people love him. I have mentioned this before. For over 16 years, Ondo State never employed teachers. He got in within 3 months. He has already started the process of employing 2,000 teachers. That is an investment in the future of the child of those APC members that will be voting on Saturday. He has already started, apart from the employment and the economic opportunities that come from that, he has already started to, invest in healthcare, employing hospital staff, clearing backlogs of salaries that, were hitherto unpaid for years, working on the electrification of the southern part of Ondo State, which has some places have not even seen electricity for over, 5, some will say 10 years. These are some of the things, the moves that this man has been making that has made him the choice of the people. So that is why it is, I'm not surprised that some people are trying to cry out. Like I said, Donald Trump did this last year. When you think you are winning, you don't complain. Even when you watch football in the 8 days of Barcelona, when Messi and all of them are tapping the ball, it is the opponent that will be kicking them. They will just be laughing and playing the ball because they know they have an edge. So if you know you have an edge, you will not be getting yourself muddled up in this whole thing. There are some people that might have been party members. Maybe they have not fulfilled their financial commitment to the party for years, and now they want to come and vote. But the law says, the rule says that there was a gate whereby you cannot just come and say you want to join the party. So how do you blame anybody for that for your own negligence at fulfilling your annual duty to your political party? It might be unfortunate, but it is what it is. I don't know the details. I'm just giving this as an hypothetical that maybe that is one of the reasons why they are having this issue. But whatever the issue is, I believe they should, go out there, give it to the authorities. They trust the authorities. They trust IDEC. They trust the APC party structure. Let them handle the case, and it will be settled. And if you have, reservations, you can still go to court. They are very, legal ways of going through this, as opposed to just mud slinging, which is, I think, unnecessary.
Okay, so you have mentioned the achievements of the present governor in the past few months that he's been handling the affairs of the state. But many will say that he was part of the administration of the late governor. And why didn't they do all of these things? Why now? Many people will say it's because he had the plan to contest for elections.
Thank you very much for that question. I'll say the answer to that question was self-evident all through last year. The current governor was made acting governor, but there were stories about, even as an acting governor, being unable to sign checks or whatever, even when he was deputy governor and all those things. There were all those issues prior to. So, if you are wondering why he never was able to, do all those things back then, we all know the story of deputy governors in Nigeria. Some people have heard on your show say deputy governors are essentially spare tires. You get so, but it doesn't matter. It's not like that. Does not mean he's not taking responsibility.
Are you there, Dr. Oludare?
I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes. At some point, we didn't hear your final line of thought.
Okay, I was saying that it's not that the governor Idatwa is not taking responsibility. He has taken responsibility for the administration. He inherited both the assets and liability, but it is better late than never. He's making all these actions right now that he has the wherewithal, the utmost wherewithal, unfettered wherewithal to do them. And the people of the state, they appreciate him for it. They love him for it. That's why everybody's go on the street. It is Mofeloki. Everybody,
all right. Okay. Dr. Marindoti, let's quickly put you on hold for a bit and we'll make some adjustments, then we'll come back to you. But Theophilus, interesting issues he has, talked about with regards to the primaries coming up soon. There's been so many issues, how the party is divided, talking about the APC is divided, and the matter of pillars of equality also came because there were those who were talking about being aborigines of the party, and the leadership of the party in the state had to say that, you know what, everybody is equal as it is, and perhaps that's why they're looking at direct primaries, so that it wouldn't seem like one person is being given the advantage against the other. But it's important that this matter is perhaps addressed. Whatever controversies that is leading up to the primaries, the state cannot afford to have a rancored, if I may use the word, primaries as it is.
The APC needs to, I think what we see every time when it's close to elections, primary especially from different political parties, is this kinds of rifts and all of that. We see it regularly, and people say it's the beauty of politics. Or
absolutely. You can express yourself whichever way you want.
You get it, but it's important that while express yourself, you understand that one person will emerge, one winner will emerge. So it means that if one person emerges as the winner, as a flag bearer, other people have to rally around that same person to ensure the party has a united front going into the election. Because when there are rancors everywhere within the party will not be stable enough to go into the elections, because the mindset will be, these other people are working for their position. And so this back and forth still coming. But once the party has a united front going forward, it helps a lot of things. It helps in the campaign. It means that even those that contested against the particular winner can campaign in their own different locations for this particular person to emerge as the governor of the state. So it's important that the party goes forward and as a united front to ensure that they clinch the state and win the elections coming up quite soon. You remember that Ondo and Edo elections are almost at the same period. And so we should not be seeing rifts going into the elections otherwise.
Well, how do you know that an election is taking place? Unfortunately, that is what characterizes...
That's what characterizes the election.
Our kind of election.
It's not just Nigeria, it's Africa generally.
Right. You always see statements coming from the opposition, everybody throwing statements here and there. But because we often say that our democracy is nascent, that is why we are seeing all of this until we matured. We haven't matured enough. Let's just tell ourselves.
How many years are we in democracy?
How many years are we? Over 20 years.
Okay, if you have a 20-year-old son right now,
we're not talking about...
Won't you be planning for the son to go to the university?
Absolutely.
He started maturing. So whether it gets to 25, 26, 27...
And that is why we are saying we are still growing. We haven't said we have grown. We have outgrown.
How far have we gone over the years? We're still having these same issues. Everyone wants to rule a state or a country, and so if they don't get that opportunity, they begin to throw. So
it's about the political elite understanding that if you lose honorably and just chest it.
Sportsman-like.
Chest it, as we often say in our local parlance. But then let's get back to Dr. Marindoti, who has been speaking to us about the Ondo primaries coming up in a matter of days. Now, let's talk about the zoning issue. It's reported that Ondo Central is supporting the governor. That's because they are seemingly positioning themselves, knowing that the governor wouldn't have more than 4 years to stay in office. And so they can begin to look at how they can clinch power immediately after that. It's not about the fact that they love him, but because of what they want to get out of him.
Thanks, Veronica. I strongly disagree with that, and I may be wrong. I have tried to read the Constitution and even the Electoral Act. Governor Idatiwa will be getting, elected to his first term, and so he will still be entitled to a second term according to the Constitution on the formation of the executive. Well, if there is, new, because if you recall, President Goodluck Jonathan too continued where Yaradua stopped. He won his first election against President Muhammadu Buhari. Then he lost his re-election. So Governor Jonathan, had he, won in 2015, would have had about 9 to 10 years of, leadership. So I don't believe that is true at all. That is the mistake that a lot of what you have just addressed right now is the tactical mistake that a lot of the aspirants made, which is the fact that, yes, in Ondo State, the election was zoned to the south, but all the contestants acted as if it was only the south that was going to vote. They did not try to spread their tentacles to the north and the central. And the one man that was smart enough to do all of that was Governor Idatiwa. He secured the north, he secured with his political moves, he secured the north, he secured the center. So now all of them have to share the votes from the south. If they had known, instead of, flame throwing and doing this and doing that, they could have easily, tried to campaign more in Akure and tried to campaign more in, Akoko, unless someone who has read the Constitution and understands it better than me, because I am a doctor, I am just reading in English and try to interpret it based on my own knowledge. But unless someone who has more facts can tell me that they have changed something since the election of President Goodluck Jonathan, I do not believe that Governor Idatiwa is going to be term limited by the end of this term. But like I said, I stand to be corrected. So that is the reason why, he is so popular. He has already secured these other territorial zones. The people in the south were all acting, and I said this a while ago, they were all acting as if it was only the southern people that were going to vote. Instead of trying to make alliances, politics is about alliances, negotiations, give off and trade-offs, So even and that is the part of what made them feel their fate, because they made it seem as if it was going to be possible, which will make it easy for not even just the central and the north, because if truly Governor Idatiwa is going to be time limited after this term, then that means it will get to the central faster and it will get back to the north even faster, right? So that's a part of the way the thing that they think was going to be a smear to arm Governor Idatiwa that turned out to be, a pulse for him. I think there's something about that in the Bible, but I can't remember right now. So that is I don't believe it is true, first off, but I believe it was a oath that they dug for themselves that, if anybody in the central, if what they are saying is true, that people in the central are just going to support him because they think it's going to get better for them, well, who is going to win the primaries? Governor Idatiwa, right? Because he has the bulk vote. But I don't believe it is true. The people in the central support him because of the things he has done. There is something there's something that they call a wall of Jericho that was all across Obadeshida Road that made life difficult for people that he took out. Aside from the employment, like I've said, the other things, the other plans that he has for the people, aside from his personality, I don't know if you've interviewed him on your station, but I don't know if you've watched a lot of his actions and spoken to people that know him. This is a cool, calm, collected man. You were talking the other time about bringing people together, about the party having a united front. Guess what? Governor Idatiwa, we knew all the records that occurred during leading up to him becoming the governor, prior to the demise of the former governor, of his predecessor, right? One of his staunch opponents was also the Speaker of the House of Assembly in Ondo State. Guess what? The Speaker is now a verified, an assured acolyte of him who is supporting him. That shows that this is a man with a warm heart, with a large heart, with a broad arm that is ready to embrace everybody. It is part of the reason why I am so sure that APC would be, calm and collected.
But quickly, let me ask you, before we go to our next guest, how come he has not been able to unite the party as it is? Because we're seeing divided lines within the party in the state.
Yes, it's because some people have nurtured ambition even way before he...
There's nothing wrong with nurturing an ambition, is there?
Yes, I am not campaigning. I am not criticizing them for it. Mr. Olusola, Barrister Olusola, SAN, has run for election as far back as 2012. He's run, I think this is probably like his third time. The former senator, Jimi has run a couple times, even as far back as 2000 and I think 12 too. So a lot of people, DIKK has run like twice. So a lot of people already nurtured the ambition. The former commissioner of finance also had an ambition. That was part of the reason why the whole ruckus occurred last year. So you cannot expect for a new governor that is just coming in to make these other people roll over or just fold their carpet and say, now we have a new governor, we will not have our ambition again. It takes a while for you to, it takes a while resources that you have saved up for you to say you want to challenge to be a governor. So it's just that sometimes a smart political, juggernaut will read the scenario, will read the room and change strategy. I understand that, well, this is a moving train. I don't have to stand in front of it. But, it is, everybody is welcome to run. That is why it's a direct primaries. There is no, blindsided or anything.
Right.
Let everybody contest and then let the people choose. And they will see that. And when you're lucky.
All right, Dari, just hold on there. Let's bring up our second guest via Zoom. He's a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Dr. Benson Nyokomei. Thank you very much for joining us at this time. Looking at the situation in Ondo APC, we've had Dari speaking, giving us his own view on this. What's your own take on all of these things happening?
I heard the gentleman. Let me begin from the constitutional provision when he said there is no inhibition against the incumbent if he contests now and he wins, and then he can recontest again. I would direct him to section 182, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2023. And the amendment was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018. And what is the provision? It says a person who was sworn in as governor to complete the term for which another person was elected as governor shall not be elected to such office for more than a single term. It's lucid and clear. If you complete the tenure of a person who was governor who goes either by reason of death or impeachment, you can only contest for one more time. That is the constitutional provision. Now, Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has a right to contest for this incoming election. He can. But he must juxtapose his own right vis-a-vis the interests of his people. The entire state, which is Ondo State, has decided that as at now, the Ondo South Senatorial District should be given the slot for a period of 8 years. Central haven't had its own during Governor Mimiko, and the North haven't had our own for almost 7 years, but for the death of Akeredolu, it would have been 8 years. Now it is zoned to Ondo South. That's why you find out that all the candidates coming out are from Ondo South Senatorial District. By this inhibition, which is a constitutional provision forbidding him from contesting more than one term, it will mean that once he finishes the one term, the Ondo South Senatorial District is shortchanged. And that is simple. So that is the grouse of the people, saying you cannot use your own interest to bar a people from what they ought to enjoy. I have heard somebody from the blue saying, oh, the governor can do wonders within 4 years. Beautiful. Are you saying that the money meant for him for 8 years will all be condescended together, brought backward, and be paid to him for him to perform for the 4 years? He can only function by reason of the resources available for him for 4 years. The resources that are to be used for the remaining 4 years will not be available to him. And therefore, the people of Ondo South are saying, no, not because they hate him, of course not. I am sure for those who are keen watchers of events, when he was to be unceremoniously impeached and thrown out of his office, my good self and a good number of persons, we were on air to say, no, it is constitutionally forbidden for you to do this. It's illegal. And we went all around to speak that by reason of the incapacity of Governor Akeredolu, the next person to take over will be his deputy. And we fought and we won. If that be the case, he has gotten the opportunity of being the governor. But now that we are constitutionally restricted from going ahead, I think it's a part of honor on his part to say, well, rather than depriving my people for a period of yet another 4 years, I think I will bow out. That will be honorable. Now, coming to the point that other persons are not campaigning in and around the state, that will not be true. Maybe the gentleman is not really on ground. You will see all the contestants moving from central to north and all the rest of them. But we smell a rat as regards the attitude of the people from the central. And that is, if Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa stays for a period of 4 years, it will willy-nilly come over to them because they are the next person who should enjoy the zoning arrangement. But let me sound a note of warning. If they go ahead to frustrate the South from enjoying her 8-year tenure in office, they should be prepared to note that at the end of the day, the space will be declared open. There won't be any zoning again in Ondo State.
How do you mean? You need to expatiate on that.
Of their minds. That would be the position. Because when it was their turn, we didn't have issues to this effect. So they should allow the people to make their choice. Now, coming to performance, I do not begrudge those who said the governor have done wonders within the space of 3 months, paying salary, if that is what performance is all about. I doubt whether the laborers are not entitled to their wages. So at what point do governors come on board to say, I pay salary, and that should therefore be what should be accounted to me for functioning? Those who built Lagos, the Third Mainland Bridge, Carter Bridge, if they were paying salary, would those things would have been built? So it is annoying to ascribe success of the governor to paying salary, paying pension. That's ridiculous. It's irritating. There is absolutely nothing a man can do within the space of 3 or 4 months. Absolutely nothing. And there's nothing on ground. But we are saying we know of a person who can do this job, who has been aspiring to this particular position. And when we look at the major ethnic groups that are in Ondo State, namely the Akokos, the Owos, these two are in the northern senatorial district. When you look at Central, Akure and Ondo, they are in the central senatorial district. When you look at the south, we have the Kales and the Lajes. Now, going by historical facts, the Akokos have had their share. Governor Adefaransi was there. The Owos have had their share. Governor Akeredolu was there. So the north has had the share. These are also the central. Now, when it comes to the south, you will see that only Ilaje, save for this period that Governor Akeredolu is, Governor Ayedatiwa is on board, of the major ethnic groups that have not had this opportunity. And in the central, we have Akure. Akure also has not had. But the zoning now has favored the South. I think it will be right, it will be equitable, it will be just that the Ilaje should produce the governor of the state. And if Mr. Ayedatiwa is inhibited, is restricted by reason of constitutional provision, there's only one choice left for us, and that's to pick the Olusola SAN as the candidate of the party. He has fought for this before. He
All right.
For it.
Dr. Enikwam,
in 2012,
Dr. Enikwam, we need to make good use of our time, please. So I need to quickly get Dr. Marindoti's reaction to some of the things that you have said. He needs to weigh in on that because I saw him earlier trying to respond to some of the things you have said. So you can go ahead, Dr. Marindoti, to some of the things you have heard Dr. Enikwam say, especially with regards to the matter I raised with you earlier, saying that the Central, that's Ondo Central, is supported. They are trying to take advantage of the fact that the governor, Ayedatiwa, will only have a 4-year tenure, which he has cleared the air on, that after the 4-year tenure, he has nothing else. And that will be denying the South of an 8-year period.
Thank you very much for that question. Thank you very much, Dr. Enikwam. I mean, thanks for, your efforts during, the whole saga last year. And thanks for the education that you just gave me right now. Because I think the last constitution that I had was from maybe 2022 or something. I downloaded it. So thanks for that clarity. I hope the constitutional amendment can fix that because I don't think it is right. But based on what you have said, sir, in terms of you repeated a lot of times about the fact that Governor Ayedatiwa will be term limited, even if so by let's fast forward 2028, another person from the South can also still run and say they want to contest, and that would be fair game. But
you think it's that easy when the Central knows that they gave their all to support the current governor?
It is that would now take me to the next question. It's not about the Central. The generation is changing, and I believe that about 70% of Nigerians are under 30. So I believe with time these things like this will change. I, for one, my father is Oka, my mother is Soba. One of my grandparents is from Usho. I grew up in Akure. I see myself as an Akure boy. Things are fluid right now. But one of the things that Dr. Enikwam kept saying also is in terms of like for the South to enjoy, or for this, it is the share of the South or the share of the North. It is the time for the people who are in power to work for the people on the streets. So Governor Ayedatiwa is not trying to get into office to enjoy anything. He is trying to get into office to sacrifice and work for the people of Ondo State and better the lives of everybody.
That is what he told them in the first place when he got into office. That's the pledge of anybody who comes into office, to serve the people.
Yes, and that is what he has started to do. And the payment of salary was just by the side. The most important thing is what Governor Ayedatiwa has started right now in terms of like employment of teachers and some of the policies that, yes, Dr. Enikwam is very right. There is only so much you can do in 3 weeks, in 3 months. But the Yoruba people say, Binu Sheri Lobi Sheyan, from the first few steps that he has taken, just the fact that he identified that since the time of Governor Adagu, there has been no major employment in the Ondo State civil service in terms of education. I know of several 10, 15-year-old children in Ondo State that finished primary school but cannot recite A, B, C, D, the letters of the alphabet. It is that piece poor. And this man has already started the process to employ teachers. He is talking about the Southern Territorial District, and I'm sure Dr. Enikwam knows this. I'm sure you know this, that they've not had electricity for a very long time. Governor Ayedatiwa has already admitted. He said it in one of his campaign stunts, talking about, the reason is because the people who supply electricity cannot recoup their money. So he's trying to get meters into the place so that they can account for what is being used. And no, these are the moves that he has started to make.
Interesting. Let's quickly.
Security.
Yes, let's quickly get back to Dr. Enikumehin to respond to some of the things you have said. And I also want to quickly ask him this question. There's always the talk of the power of incumbency, because you've talked about your candidate and how much of a chance he can get at this point, knowing that the power of incumbency is also very critical when we're talking about elections like this.
Well, the power of incumbency, that mystery was shattered in Lagos when Governor Ambode contested and incumbency could not help him. So we have that as a point. Take note that this governor that comes on board, none of us hates him. I must put on record, the gentleman and I are from the same ward in Ilaje local government. And so we are not at war. But what we are talking about is a larger interest, as it were. So when we come to the issue of power of incumbency, here is a man thrown up by reason of the circumstance that has evolved. In fact, it's a circumstantial governor that has come on board. Because if his boss was to still be alive, he may not be contesting. I do know as of a fact.
But we recall that his interest, he had shown interest, and that was also a controversy while his late principal was ill.
I said a year before Akeredolu passed on,
right.
Chief Olusola SAN had told him he was going to contest. And to make matter worse, he went to the now governor, who was deputy governor, that he was contesting. And the man didn't say, oh, my brother, I also will be contesting. If we are talking about the principle of first mention, Chief Oke stands tall. And our people say, whoever enters into the water is the one that we know how deep it is. Here is a man who has been with us. Here is a man who's schooled in our area. Here is a man who has stayed all his life with us. We know him. We feel him. We understand him. We appreciate him. We are not saying Governor Ayedatiwa is not right in his own right, but when you place on ground good, better, and best, I tell you for free, okay, it's the best. And so I was laying the basis that when this governorship comes to Ondo South, definitely the person from Ondo South will be chosen. He will represent the entire state. President Tinubu, the issue was APC sold this to the South. He emerged, and it's not the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Dr. Benson.
And if Olusola becomes the candidate of the party, he's not going to represent Ilaje alone. He will represent Ilaje, SLD.
Dr. Benson.
Ondo West, Ondo East, Akure North, Akure South. Ifedore Idori, Owo, Ose, Akoko South East, Akoko Southwest, Akoko North East, Akoko Northwest. He's going to represent the entire state.
Dr. Benson, understandably so, I know that Oke has been contesting for quite a long time, but do you think that he's better, or every other candidate do not have?
Let's choose a man who will stay for us for the period of 8 years. So say somebody will complete when Governor Ayedatiwa finishes, another person will come, the person will tell you, I want to spend another 8 years. It won't work. That's not the way it works. And for equity, for fairness, for justice, one reasonably would have thought that Governor Ayedatiwa would say, well, I've had the privilege. I want my people to enjoy this 8 years unbroken period of time. And that should be the way a statesman goes. But if he says he wants to go into the ring is opened. But the result will be determined on Saturday.
So what are his chances?
We cannot be to change.
What are his chances?
For
your candidates?
Oh my God. Chief Alexander Olusola is a grassroots man. He's known by us. He's a lawyer of note. He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. He's a tested and trusted person. I give you instances. When he served on the board, the governing board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, the disaster that befell us in 1998 in which virtually all the schools that are there in Ugbo Axis were razed to the ground because of the unfortunate war between the just and the largest. This man used that privilege and that opportunity to put that place back. When he became the chairman of Osopade, you will see that there is a road that goes to Ugbonla, another one goes to Araromi, because I was essay to Agagu, Governor Agagu, on policy planning, implementation, and special duties. So when I talk with facts. The road to Araromi is about 40 kilometers. The one to Ugbonla is about 30 kilometers. This man was the chairman of Osopade when these activities were on. And Governor Agagu, knowing fully well who Chifoke is, having performed in NDDC, and trusted him with the facilities, and he went ahead and did well. And the longest bridge we have in Ondo State today, the Alakpe Bridge.
The question is, what are his chances?
Very bright, beautiful. The people are expecting. We are all eager. You need to see him when he was in SLD yesterday. The whole SLD was closed down because he was around. So the chances are bright. All we are saying is, let there be a level playing field. Let nobody bring in thuggery. Allegations have been raised as to some persons sponsoring talks that will come and disrupt the election. I plead with those talks. Please, don't. This is the time to choose whom we want. Let the people go and make their decision on Saturday. Okay, chances are bright. We don't have issues about it.
All right, let's quickly move over now to Dr. Marindati because our time is limited. Marindati, go ahead. You have heard Dr. Enikume with regards to talking about the chances of his candidates. What are yours? Quickly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Enikume, for that submission. I believe the chances of Governor Aiyedatiwa is bright, and that's why people are complaining about level playing field, because it is obvious, he is the leader of the pack. Daddy, you mentioned being Governor Aiyedatiwa being a circumstantial governor, but David was also a circumstantial leader and then became the man after God's heart, right? So that is not a big of a deal. Just Mr. Olusola is known in Ondo State even from when I was in secondary school. He's a legacy candidate. He has been a grassroots candidate, but he has been rooted to the grass for a very long time. That's why he has never won any of the elections that he has contested. So it is also good for him to get in the race, and the outcome will most likely be the same because we cannot see where the wind is going. We cannot see that Governor Aiyedatiwa is a moving train. The banter all across Akure and Ondo State in general right now is Mofe lucky because everybody is lucky. Sir, even you, Dr. Benson Enikume, you are lucky, sir. And I know that after the party, after the primaries, like you said, the governor is your brother. You will embrace him, and everybody will move forward to the final election.
All right. We can only hope for a rank-of-free primary at the end of the day so that we can move our democracy forward. Gentlemen, we must thank you. Director, Contacts and Engagements for Lucky Aiyedatiwa Campaign Organization, Foot Soldiers Independent Campaign Council, Oludare Marindoti, as well as lawyer and political affairs analyst, Dr. Benson Enikume, for your time on the program. Thank you, gentlemen.